Did you get a chance to catch The Last of Us last night premiering? I did, and oh my god, finally we have an adaptation that doesn't suck balls. Literally, it is so good. If you haven't seen it, I'm not going to do any spoilers, but coming from the history of adaptations just flopping, for example, we have Halo, we have Uncharted, and it's just some would argue they were really entertaining, but the reality is they didn't do the games justice. They didn't do the storytelling justice. So when I first heard that HBO was launching a Last of Us TV show series, I was a little bit worried, just due to those previous adaptations absolutely failing for whatever reason. It's very simple. Don't wreck the story of what already worked in the video game and just retell that story through acting if you're really going to go through with it, or else you're just going to get a loyal fan base that absolutely turns against the IP of it. And then next thing you know, people who haven't played the games, they don't even want to play the games because they saw the shows and the shows were so bad. I have to give a round of applause to Neil motherfucking Druckmann. He did it. He was able to pull it off with the studio and people behind this. And it is so good. Like the small, subtle details that they implemented from the original video game that we all love so much with our heart and the story, they implemented it into the TV show. And again, I'm not going to get into spoilers. Like Sarah, Joel's daughter, is wearing the exact same shirt as Sarah in the video game. Just a small little cool quirk, if you will. I thought that was kind of cool. On top of that, you have Joel, who actually uses a wrench. He uses the motherfucking wrench. That's right. And again, if you haven't played the video game and you're watching this, I highly recommend after you go through the series, the TV series, you play it or play the game now, literally. And you'll see exactly why it's getting such raving reviews. It's almost identical to the actual gameplay. It's like you're watching the gameplay of the game, but it's all done throughout the acting, and it's so incredibly well done and well paced. I'm fangirling right now, if you guys cannot tell, because it's just so well. And one of my favorite scenes is the truck cameraman POV. Just like in the game where they're leaving the neighborhood and they got to get out of town, and they get in the truck with Tommy and they're driving out and they see the farmer's house on fire, and then they get into the town, and it's like in the game you're moving around, you can look from window to window. You have that same exact POV in the TV series. It is hands down one of the coolest cameraman POV immersive shots that they literally mirrored from the game to just immerse yourself in it more. And again, they could have done this in so many different ways, but they didn't change what worked and what made fans love the original game. They're actually so far giving The Last of Us IP justice and not botching it like Velma, like Halo, like Uncharted. Also, I want to touch base on, I know a lot of people were hating on Bella Ramsey for her not looking the part for Ellie. She absolutely killed it. You got to give her credit. If you've seen the show, you know she is absolutely playing the part and doing it justice. And one of my favorite characters so far that is in it is Marlene. Holy shit, Marlene is like identical to what Marlene is in the video game. Exact same tonality. Of course, it's an actor, but she just, they all play their parts so well, but she's so good. She's so good. And then, of course, for those of us who have played the game, it's just going to be very exciting. The anticipation of knowing what to expect, but seeing how well executed it is, with it living up to the expectation of this first episode, which absolutely, again, killed it. And now, honestly, I could say I have a little bit of hope now when you hear games coming out with their own TV series. As long as they do it right, they don't invent the wheel, you can see that it actually works. Don't try and do something different and deter from the actual story and feel like you can't use scenes from the video game that worked and using that same dialogue and not transferring it over to a TV show format, which is what The Last of Us did. They actually used a lot, if not majority of that same dialogue is used in The Last of Us TV series. From a gamer's perspective, it's like, if you're going to do an adaptation, that's a no-brainer. But as we've seen in the past, a lot of these directors and producers like to reinvent it. So hopefully they see this now. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I do hope adding on that God of War, when they do start shooting that, whenever that'll be,